Okay, we're going live here. Thank you very much for all these amazing souls who are watching this interview. I am a PhD Fernando coach, your host here, and I'm so excited for this wonderful interview that I'm doing to this, I would say, extraordinary being. Her name is Jessica Woodruff, and she has a beautiful project that she will share with us. Welcome here, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Fernando. I so appreciate that. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me to be here and share with everybody.
Thank you, and thank you also for Dan, who is not here, but who is already part of this creation process. So, what are you going to share with us, Jessica? That is so important, and I found it so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have quite an incredible mission, as I'm sure so many of all of us do in this community and in this realm. Um, where I began is over 20 years ago, at the turn of the century, if you will, toward holistic health. And my father was more of natural in his approaches. My mother was actually a registered nurse here in the US, which made her very she was rather trapped, if you will, in the conventional medical model, and it ended up taking her life. She went with that all the way. So when I began having my children, 2001, it shifted my perspective toward more of a natural way of living. So I cleaned up our diet and my family and really made a lot of changes. And the more I did, the more passionate I became and the more curious I became, just wanting to learn more and more and more about all the types of holistic medicines, from just nutrition and herbals to homeopathy, just the whole realm itself. And eventually, life had taken me to work with in an alternative medical complex, is where I met Dan, actually. My husband, Dr. Dan, he is a chiropractor, but now what we do is not chiropractic because years ago, probably about a dozen years ago, about 12 years ago, he almost quit his profession because he felt like he was a glorified aspirin. He he was, treating his patients, but he would keep seeing the same ones. And so it just wasn't satisfying for him. He really wanted to bring an end to people's story of pain. He wanted to truly address their issues and solve that for them. And like I said in the introduction post in my bio a little bit, I was hit by a car when I was a little girl. And while and when you're a kid, you don't notice. You're a young child, you don't notice these things that are happening with you, your dysfunction. You don't have the pain. But eventually, even in my 20s, I began to really feel the effects of not only the impact of the accident, but the medical community. They didn't address my problems correctly. So that broke his heart. And so between his patients and me, he developed our technique, which is a set of protocols that are mainly vibration with some percussion and other things that address the brain a as the computer that it is. And we provide the input to correct posture and help. Then if your posture is correct, then your movement is going to be correct. And we don't need to diagnose or treat any conditions, because when you take care of that, everything else just literally falls into place as it should. So that resolves pain and such. So now I'm on a mission to teach people how to take care of themselves at home, but also to certify people around the world so that we together can eradicate pain and take care of all the dysfunction and just restore lives. And it's part of building our new earth. If we're free of our pain, our spirits soar. We just feel so good. And what you do, Fernando, with the heart and the resonance and bringing our energy up and just enjoying life, restoring joy and the quality of life for people. That's what we're all about. So I hope to maybe our community here and our audience here, people who would like to join us and become certified in what we do, our special type of care. It's very simple. Anybody can do it of any background, of any education level. And because I'm self-taught, I did not go to college even. And so I'm reaching the people who are like that and want to
Mm.
really make a change in this way. And so that's why I'm here, and I just appreciate being able to share this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. So, those who I'm just asking from the point of view of someone who likes to visualize how things work, right? So for
Yeah.
someone who is just curious about this and comes close to you and say, "Okay, I'm just pain. I have some back pain or shoulder pains because of my posture or because of some because of the influence of my work. I'm just doing working over 12 days, 12 hours per day like this. And how can your system or methodology help those people?"
Oh, that I love that question. That is a perfect question, Fernando. Thank you. Um, what we have found is that the brain will make an accommodation. It all goes back to homeostasis. So for the brain and the musculoskeletal system, it ensures that it is stable, even if that's not functional, even if it's painful, whatever the brain decides is stable for the body is the posture that it's going to hold on to. And every accommodation, whether it's from an injury, a painful insult, or as you're saying, that repetitive use or motion, that conservation of energy, the brain will create an accommodation that accomplishes stability and conservation of that energy, and it doesn't undo it on its own. So it must be told to be corrected. So what we do is we apply vibration as code for the brain to correct. We provide input to the proprioceptive nervous system, where we have all these nerves in our muscles and in different areas in our body. So we apply the vibration in a specific sequence as code to the brain to tell it to make these changes. And because of homeostasis, it's our friend as well as our challenge. Over about a 60-day process is when the brain will finally hold the proper posture as its accepted new normal and stable. And from there, we're really correcting from birth to, can't see my hands, from birth to present. We are erasing all those accommodations. And then in the future, there's just maybe some tune-ups that might be needed here and there. Like even me with my accident, I could have just a tune-up every month or so, and that's not much. 15 minutes a month, that's not bad, right? So the technique is just the set of vibration you apply around the body in a very systematic way. It's very simple, really.
Wonderful. So you use an external device that has some electrodes that you can put in your scalp to stimulate the brain. Is that how it works?
We actually can just use a home massager. Um, my husband has a more of a professional grade because he sees a lot of patients, but we um, we teach people at home also how to do it, and even our certified specialist, they'll just buy maybe a $30 or $50 massage or a vibrational device and use that to make the change because it's mainly vibration that it's that feedback system with the brain. You know how it's taking that input, so we're providing a vibrational stimulus in a specific sequence that basically tells the brain, the basal ganglia, that is telling the muscles not to express to achieve a posture. It's telling it's okay, turn these all back on. So then we're
Mhm.
turning with that vibration, we're turning all those muscles back on to become expressive once again. And the percussion does the opposite in a way. It tells overexpressive muscles to kind of calm down. It modulates them to a level that is proper. So all the ratios of our muscles are proper and our posture is physically correct. It's all about body physics.
Wonderful. So yes, it makes sense because when a person is already in pain, there are some muscles which are already very uh, overstimulated. So you act on the nervous system to tell those muscles to calm down, right?
Exactly. We do both. It's a modulating thing. We turn the ones back on that the basal ganglia have turned off. For example, this is a good visual. If you ever experience your shoulders being rolled in, that means that your brain, the basal ganglia part of your brain, has tightened up and shut down your pectoralis muscles, pectoralis major. And so what we do, the very first step of our protocol is going from here over here, making 3 or 4 passes with the vibration. And that's telling the brain to turn that back on. So by the time you even get just a couple of steps in, your shoulders are already coming back and the way that they're supposed to be. It's all about having that correct body physics so that our centers of gravity from our sides and also front and back are all lined up. And that allows the body to move properly with the right angles and prevent degeneration in different tissues and joints. People have knee issues and shoulder issues, and just correcting the angles in which that joint is functioning will help to alleviate the pain, the inflammation, and not have that damage of those joints. So it's just about correcting the body physics with physics.
Yes, yes, yes. So if someone who is already in pain for this, they have to get the device, or do they have any another option in which you can teach them how to self-educate and how to bring relief to that pain? How does it work?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. We have 2 books. We have a booklet that is a bit simpler. It has the technique, the same technique that we teach at the at-home level, and it has basic science. And that I'm happy to give free to anybody who would like to ask. I have an automated system. If anybody watching this video, if you are on my Vibrate-A-Way Facebook page and you message the Vibrate-A-Way Facebook page, hashtag HMH, that's for home massager hacks, you'll automatically receive that book, a digital version of that book. So you get the technique for free today just by watching. If you have a home massager, those things are all you really need to achieve this at home. We do have a video for how to for people who learn more visually, and I can provide you with that as well. The link for that, it's $69. But then the people who would like to certify and learn to do this for clients and patients of your own, that is something separate, and I would love to talk with you personally about that to see. We also have an application that's more of an application-based thing, because we want to make sure our quality, make sure our technique is always kept pure. So that's something to be watched very closely to make sure that our providers are careful to make sure that they're doing it exactly as we ask.
Exactly, exactly. So wonderful. So there are 2 ways: those who want to perform their own self-healing process through the right self-education with your book, and the other way is for those who want to become practitioners to help others how to heal, how to bring relief to their pains, right?
Exactly right, Fernando. Thank you. Yes, we have the at home and then we have the certification.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
anyone's welcome to ask me about either one. But just to get the technique today for free, you can get it just by messaging our Vibrate-A-Way Facebook page, hashtag HMH, and it's all yours.
Wonderful, Jessica. And many people will be asking themselves, "Oh, how many people have they already helped?" What's your answer for that?
That are certified already. Um,
All of them.
oh, all of them. Oh boy, we have a lot because now we have a presence quite a bit in Kenya as well. And they're growing. They're actually planning on working with different nonprofits and possibly their government to get more of our centers opened there in Kenya. And it's not one of those things like a year ago, Dan was over in Kenya and he treated and they were reported actually it was quite a miraculous process. They were reported to have been healed actually close to 600 people just in Kenya during like a 2 week trip. He was there just giving a bunch of free treatments there. Um, so instead of us placing in opening a center, we have people that we've certified there, and they are heading up the centers that they open with our
Mm.
oversight, but they're qualified. We trust them very much to handle that. So in Kenya itself, we probably have over 1,000 people touched there, but here in the U.S. It could be close to 10,000 if you include dance patients and people like that. However, Vibrate-A-Way itself is starting out smaller. We're more of a family, is the feel that I would like to have for Vibrate-A-Way because we take care of each other, we support each other, we educate each other, and we're here for you to teach you how to do at home. So our community is only a little bit over 300 right now online and Facebook because we kept it really small, but we like to grow. So as
Mhm.
fast as we can grow while keeping quality, I would love to.
Wonderful, wonderful. And would you like to share some stories, some very successful stories of some people who came to you and they finally got a very tremendous progress because of your help?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, there are a bunch. Boy, oh boy. Um, I'm thinking of of patients that we've had. There is one lady, her name is Linda. I do have a testimonial video or two of her actually. She's somebody who came to Dan who was planning to be wheelchair bound. She's a very active lady, such a go-getter, and she loved to hike and to be active and to be facing life in a wheelchair is something that she was really not wanting to have. She didn't want surgeries. And so she came to Dan at the clinic. This was probably a couple of years ago. And very quickly, he was able to get it to where she was able to walk without a walker or anything. And now she hikes. This summer, she's coming to our home too because she's more of a friend than just a patient. And she had a garage sale and she's lifting things and she's totally independent and she's so active and she lives life on her terms. That's what we would love for everyone is not to change your life to fit how your body can support and do the things you want to do and to give you joy. We want you to do everything you dream of doing with no limitations, and we'll just help your body to be able to live up to whatever you want to do in those standards. So she is one who is dear to our heart because of what a transformation from close to a wheelchair to totally doing anything that she would like to do. The fun thing about our technique is because it's the brain that changes everything, you can see improvement right away. In just the first few minutes, you're already
Mm.
moving better than you were. And while that doesn't hold completely, at least right the first time, you can notice such improvement that it's encouraging. It gives hope. And that's something else that we are so about is just giving hope to people, just believing where there was no solution before. Now there's actually a solution to be able to move freely and not be in pain. But another person was recent. He's another patient turned friend. He had an intestinal blockage. And while we do not, again, ever claim to diagnose or treat any conditions. He was just hospitalized before he came a couple of days before, the day before, with an intestinal blockage. And he was having some back pain and some movement issues. So he came on over, and Dan just ran through the protocols with him. And before he left, he's not a very outwardly emotional person. He's very nice and friendly and everything, but I've never seen him get emotional. And he was just kind of rubbing his kind of intestinal area, you know, where the large intestine is. And he's like, "May I use your bathroom?" He was afraid. He was afraid that he was experiencing some pain and discomfort that morning. He was afraid that maybe he had still a blockage happening. And after Dan worked on him, even though that was not our intention, he had no more pain in that area, besides all the rest of everything working better. He found some relief and was quite happy. And he was almost in tears because he was so afraid that it was something so serious. And he was all fine by the time he left. But kids actually are people who we're really passionate about, because we think of the elderly and people middle-aged, you know, they're compromised with all these accommodations that stack upon each other. But children from birth, they're going to start with their accommodations. And while they don't complain of pain oftentimes, and they seem functional, their postures are not right. And then when they get into doing sports and they get active, then that's when it all just starts happening. And as Dan explains it, if you take a sapling and you tie it down, it's going to grow this way. But if you can just cut that little rope, that sapling, it bounces right back so easily. And kids, their bodies and their brains are so resilient and they respond so well. And we can prevent a lifetime of pain and dysfunction as they are getting older. So think of your kids. Growing pains are not a real thing. That shouldn't happen. So it's from birth on up, people who really need to resolve this. So yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It's very important that story you told about that previous man, because I thought it was only for this kind of muscles that we have in the strained muscles. I think that's the name. But you also spoke about the organs in his testing. So this is very, very, very powerful story that you share. So my question is, do you have any partnership with other health professionals, nurses or clinicals or hospitals, or some center of caregivers or things like that?
Thank you. We do have a nurse practitioner who is studying to become one of our specialists. She lives in Southern Michigan. But as of right now, truth be told, the way that the system is, even people who are in the holistic sector of all of this, they still seem to hold so much to what is commonly known or believed about the human body. And we found that a lot of that to be inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying, if you have a vase or a teacup that falls and it shatters and you try to glue it back together and hold on to it, it, it's broken. And the system we found is so broken that
Mm-hmm.
we just need to rebuild it with true science and everything. So truth be told, a lot of our people who, yeah, we found that people who are not in the medical
Yes.
sector actually are more receptive and able to use our technique better. Yeah, it's not that we're not open to people, because there are a lot of people who I think we have not found, maybe who here who are ready to receive and to use things like our technique, but many have not yet that we have found.
Exactly. This is
Mhm.
for everyone, but not everyone is for this.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. I appreciate your saying that. So that's very, of course, in some ways, most people think, oh, it's bad news. But for me, it's very good news because it means that your methodology is quite revolutionary, right?
It
Revolutionary.
is. It
And not for
is.
conventional people, right?
That's right. That's right. Yes, professional. Yeah, we welcome professionals, but it's for everyone for sure.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So results are undeniable. You already spoke about results, and nobody can deny that, right? So
Right.
as many people were talking about my methodology about the heart coherence, the new heart coherence with ancient tools, some people say, "Oh, how does it work? What's the scientific basement for that?" And I told them, "Okay, we can measure the scientific results, but there is no scientific basis for every single detail about that because it's not completely rational. However, I just finished yesterday the training on heart coherence yesterday, and most people, all the people, not most, but all the people say, fantastic, 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 very good, fantastic, fantastic. I say, okay, I feel that Vibrate-A-Way is something very, very, very similar. It is very fantastic. And if you have any final message to share here with the audience, this space is yours.
Oh, thank you. I just want to extend my gratitude for you, Fernando, and for everyone watching and for being open to new ways that we together can create a whole new world of alleviating pain and dysfunction and allowing our lives to um, be lived on our terms to be able to fulfill our true purposes and be our higher selves and everything that contributes emotionally and our whole being together. So thank you for all who are watching, who are already doing your special parts. And if anyone would like to join with our special part, I invite you wholeheartedly. We are so excited to spread this throughout the world and to have providers in every part of everywhere. And yeah, just feel free to contact me directly. If anyone has any questions or would like to schedule a meeting, I would be very happy to. Thank you.
If anyone schedules a call with Jessica, Jessica is an amazing being. Those who schedule a call with her would be so blessed by that. So thank you, Jessica, for being here. And thank you, everyone who is watching this live or replay as well.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, and take care. And see you all in the next interview.